Hey guys, I'm just trying to make it clear who's on the training camp roster and give you the relevant info so that you can be as informed a fan as possible. So we're going to run through the 20 names. Many of them you will recognize. Some of them maybe you won't. Maybe you're in the weeds and you know everything. You know that Josh Jackson is on an Exhibit 9 contract instead of an Exhibit 10 like Gabe Brown. Maybe you know that. Maybe you don't. But anyway, let's run down the training camp roster so that we all know. Also, make sure to like this video. Liking the videos is good. First up, Pascal Siakam, tall, long, all-NBA player. Hey, are you the Pascal Siakam from Bobby Webster's quote about having 5 players who all look like Siakam? That's cool. Jeff Doughton, the shorthand is Wiggle. It's what people will use to illustrate that he has a good handle and a good first step and can get into the paint off his own dribble. It's a unique aspect of his game relative to the rest of the roster, and he was a pretty good defender at the G League level. He has been working on his jumper for quite some time. Both of those things we're looking to see established at the NBA level, which it hasn't really happened yet. He may have an opportunity this season. He's on a two-way contract, so he's probably not going to make the team, even if he does wow people, because he does have that flexibility of that contract. But he's going to be around the team this season at the very least, and the 905, of course. So keep an eye on him. Scotty Barnes, reigning Rookie of the Year. He's also a very famous Twitch streamer. A lot of people like him for that. Maybe you know him from that. He's the bringer of vibes, exceptional ones at that. We're looking for better half-court playmaking this season, and probably if he can translate his off-ball defense into somewhere in the elite category, that's a really meaningful step. He's still a great isolation option, considering where he started his career, and he's the future, Juancho Hernangomez, also known as Bo Cruz, he was a co-star of Adam Sandler's Netflix movie about basketball called Hustle. Maybe you recognize him from that. You may also recognize him as the MVP of the Eurobasket final. Cashed 6 threes in a row. Pretty impressive. He's on a fully guaranteed contract, but still has to make the team out of camp. So the chances are really good of that, but it's up in the air to some degree, I suppose. Fred VanVleet, he's very small. He's one of the best shooters in the NBA. He's one of the best defenders at the guard position in the NBA, and he was an all-star last year. And many people consider him to be the heartbeat of the team. Good dude. Christian Koloko, the Raptors' lone draft pick, a tall, long fella. That fits what the Raptors are trying to do. He's got wingspan. And he can also step out on guys above the break defensively. The Rico Hines runs. He's been catching some lobs. He's been blocking dudes at the rim. If you go by the Arizona tape, there's not much going on offensively. But if you go by Rico Hines and some of the reports about his shooting at the draft combine, there's offensive stuff to be happening there. Nick Nurse commented initially that he expected G League minutes for him. Some people I've seen comment on the videos I've been doing that they want Koloko starting. That's an interesting wrinkle. But more than anything, we just kind of have to see him in preseason, see what's happening in more organized basketball. OG Anunoby, the international man of mystery, the ongoing bit of always trying to keep himself out of the public eye and trying to say as little words as possible, is ongoing and a favorite of many. He's the consummate 3-and-D player in the NBA. Very few are as good at the combination of those two things as he is, but he also adds a little bit of creation on top of that. Plateaued a little bit last year, but this year, by all means, could ascend past where people think he might end up, and so a very interesting year ahead for him. Justin Champagnie, just a really great rebounder for his size and position. Basically unparalleled. I haven't seen many things like it. He got a lot of Rodman comps. This is a guy who's on a partial guaranteed contract. He's trying to make the team. There's a little bit of pressure on him to develop. During the season, he was quoted as saying that he was taking 200 corner threes a day before he did anything else, all the other basketball stuff he was doing. And so he's obviously been working on being able to stretch the floor so that the Raptors can value him more highly and give him a fully guaranteed contract, probably. He's in the thick of things. Keep an eye on him. Gary Trent Jr., a pull-up artist. By the numbers, the best isolation player on the Raptors last year as far as points per possession go. He's pound dribble sign step, leaning into faders in the mid-range. He's got a lot in his bag as far as pulling up and all that kind of stuff. The gambling on defense, it's part of the Raptors scheme, something I hope he's better at this year. And maybe most importantly, he's effectively in a contract year because he's going to turn down his player option. So what happens with him at the trade deadline, where the Raptors are, and what kind of contract he'll be able to command afterwards, all very, very interesting. So keep an eye on that. DJ Wilson fits the defense pretty well, especially from an attitude, energy, and size point of view. The technique has come and gone in his career. Hopefully he's going to be able to, I guess, recuperate some of that. But also, if he's going to make the team, he's going to have to beat out other players who have a longer history with the Raptors and have probably more interesting skills. So he would have to develop something offensively, probably to nudge somebody out. But he is there competing, and he is on a partially guaranteed contract. Precious Achiuwa, probably the most explosive athlete on the team, could end up as the team's best defender by season's end, depending on how consistent he is. He also has many interesting burgeoning offensive skills. We saw them in the playoffs. This year might be, as far as a progression, development, whatever standpoint, he might be the most interesting player on the team, equal to Scotty in my mind. And so I'm very excited to see if he's in the starting lineup, if he comes off the bench, how the lineups are kind of how they shape up with that in mind. And I think that'll have a big impact on the Raptors' win and loss record. Josh Jackson, who is on the Exhibit 9 deal. So the Exhibit 10 is a minimum contract and it's not guaranteed. So you're just paid the minimum for the amount of time that you're there. And oftentimes this will include, when you get released, like a $50,000 little bump that you get. The Exhibit 9 it has a different stipulation. It's basically the Exhibit 10. Only if you're injured while you're with the team, they don't have to keep you on the roster until you're healthy and pay you that amount. So you can be waived, cut if you're injured. So interesting stipulation for Josh Jackson. He has defended at the NBA level for sure. He's had stints of it. He has a little bit of ball handling, a little bit of pull-up stuff. Neither has really, I guess, coalesced into him being able to do it consistently at the NBA level. There's been runs in his career where it's looked good, but largely he's been ineffective at both. The Raptors are probably looking to, maybe if they think there's something they can tweak in his jump shot that will allow him to perform. Maybe it's a 3-and-D guy who plays at the end of the bench. Maybe he sticks around with the 905, who knows. But he's not guaranteed any money, and that's not really a good... that means he's probably not making the team. Delano Banton. So despite being a hometown kid from Rexdale, he has a partial guarantee. He's not fully guaranteed. I know there's a lot of fanfare around Delano, but while I think it's likely he makes the team, there is still a chance somebody could leapfrog him. And he's been playing a lot with the Team Canada in the games where there's very little NBA talent across from him and on the team with him. Hopefully those reps develop into something meaningful. He has an interesting handle and passing flair at his size, but there's also a lot of things that he has to improve at to kind of make, to have a positive presence on an NBA team. So we'll see what happens. A lot of people like him, and he's a good story for the franchise. Thad Young, a vet among vets. I think he's headed into year 16 or 17, his 5th NBA contract. And he's plus defender, plus passer, and a mentor to many of the bigs on the roster. Gabe Brown, he definitely has the physical profile the Raptors are looking for in their wings. He's big, he's long, and he has an interesting lefty stroke that I think developed quite a bit at Michigan State. It's not an all-out weapon or anything like that, but it's of note. He also has athletic pop at the rim, both sides of the floor. He can finish there, and also if he's rotating over at the collegiate level, there was some rim protection stuff. Not a whole bunch, but some. The Raptors, more than likely, we're going to see them give him a bonus of $50K to hang around with the 905. So that's probably what's going to happen, but with these guys, you never know. A guy can come in and make a squad. Otto Porter Jr., that's the Raptors' big signing this offseason. It may not be flashy to some, but the Raptors basically found a guy who fits what they're going to do defensively. He's done it at a high level. He just won a championship playing great team defense. He also fits their ability to hunt the glass offensively and defensively, one of the best rebounders at his size and position over the past decade, and he shoots the hell out of the ball. Just a really great fit. That's the short version of why he's a good fit, but that's kind of the gist of it. Khem Birch, he has a chance to carve out some minutes if he comes back healthy and he starts playing well. I think that there's some matchups with bigger players that the Raptors will be able to use him in. But considering that the Raptors brought everybody from their front court back and added Otto Porter Jr. to it, it should be interesting to see what happens with Khem Birch's minutes. Harper Jr., another two-way like Jeff Doughton, so more than likely comfortably in the hands of the 905 rather than the Raptors. Of course, you can impress at camp. He's a shooter, roughly 40% on quite a few attempts per game at Rutgers. That was kind of the thing that he was doing. He was a big guard there too, 6'6", pretty hefty frame as well. So, yeah, look forward to seeing him on the 905 this year. Chris Boucher, coming off his best year as a pro. He's on a new contract. He was awesome defensively last year. He was awesome offensively. The Raptors won a lot of minutes with him on the floor, and I expect them to use him in a similar fashion this season. And yeah, just expecting good things. Big shout out, Chris. And last but not least, Malachi Flynn, the Pro-Am legend. It really should be interesting to see how the Raptors value him this year. He's going to be on the team, obviously, heading into the season, but it's going to take something for him to prove that the Raptors shouldn't play guys like Scotty and Pascal at point guard and stagger lineups like that, and that it should be Malachi instead to kind of take over backup point guard minutes. The Raptors leaned into no guard lineups a lot last year. We're going to have to see if Malachi can change their minds this season and earn some minutes. And if he's doing that, it's going to have to be because his pull-up shooting is working really well and he's defending at his position. One of those things he's done basically the whole of his career. The other has been more hit and miss. But yeah, that's Malachi Flynn. Right. If you're looking for Svi Mykhailiuk or Armoni Brooks, like I said at the start, they were both waived this offseason. If you're looking for Sonny Weems, TJ Ford, Linus Kleza, those types of guys, I'm very sorry, but they've been gone for some time. This has been the Toronto Raptors. That's their training camp roster. For more heavy analysis and written work, always stay tuned with RaptorsRepublic.com. It's where the best analysis of the Raptors has always been done, the most thorough. And if you want to be ahead of the curve, keep paying attention to Raptors Republic on YouTube, the podcast channel, and on the website. I'm Samson Folk. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you know the team better than ever now, and we'll see you.